Live and right here, it is Pro Football Today. Kevin Walsh, Donnie Rightside, and Joe Lisi with you, an hour away from kickoff for a phenomenal Week 11 slate here on an NFL Sunday. There are some big doings to get to, though, here on this Sunday, and to help us with that is NFL insider Adam Caplan. And Cap, I did allude to this a little bit to you as the Giants look like they were about to lose to Carolina, that Daniel Jones might be done. And I understand that you're well aware of my position, the correct one, on Daniel Jones, but it's not why I brought it up, Cap. It's because of the contract situation that I know you're about to let us know could very well end his time in New York.
Yeah, and Kevin, this is why, okay? Because we were actually talking last week during the game. The game wasn't even over yet. But we saw those Derek Carr with the Raiders. We saw it last year with Russell Wilson. And we've seen it with veteran quarterbacks when they have a contract that's, I don't want to call it detrimental to the team's progress, but when the quarterback goes south, which Daniel Jones has this season, although he got off to a good start, he struggled so badly lately, then you start looking at the contract. Like, it was well known in league circles since he signed that 4-year, $160 million contract, that in the third year of that extension, there could come a time where it could be over for him. And that's where we are now. So let's talk about his contract. So next year, he's got $30 million in base salary. None of it's fully guaranteed. However, there's injury protection for the club and for the player. Let's get to the player part about it. If he cannot pass a physical in March, 23 of that $30 million is guaranteed for injury. That means they're going to owe him $23 million. That's why we saw in Denver, the Broncos went to Russell Wilson in season and asked him to change his contract to adjust those injury guarantees. He was not going to do it. Derek Carr, by the way, refused to do it. They were gone. So that's what we face here. And they face an uncertain future with the success of this football team. I know Joe Shane, their GM, was interviewed by the media this past week, and it was a grilling session. It was partially about Daniel Jones and why the team is so bad. And the one thing I'll agree with Shane is, it is true, it's not just one thing. Yes, you start with a quarterback and work your way down. Kevin, the lack of playmakers on this team. They're fast at receiver. I get that. Theo Johnson, the tight end's got a chance, but Devin Singletary is not a starting running back at this level. The Texans learned that. That's why they didn't want him back. They wanted Joe Mixon in that trade they got from Cincinnati. We're the playmakers on defense. They have one stud of their offensive line. That's Andrew Thomas. Just look on the turnpike off of 95 in Philly. Why most years the Eagles, one of the elite teams? It starts, Donnie knows this, the offensive and defensive lines. When you're not strong on both, you can't be an elite team. And let's start with that. The Giants are not elite on either side. Dexter Lawrence is great. What else do they have on the D-line? Look at their offensive line other than Andrew Thomas. Where do you point on their lines and say, wow, they're elite? I just mentioned the players who are great. One of them is out for the season, Andrew Thomas.
It's crazy, too. They've been trying to fix that offensive line there, Cap, for years in New York. Sometimes you just can't get it right. It's one of those things. Let's flip it over to the AFC because I want to talk quarterbacks as well. Aaron Rodgers is playing in a game today for the New York Jets. He's not even the focal point for us. Why? Because we're taking a look at Anthony Richardson coming back in now, starting for Joe Flacco. Adam, anything behind the scenes that you heard, why he was benched and why he's back today?
All right, Donnie, look, first of all, they had to bench him when they did. He was playing poorly. People forget, they want to point out, tapping out and checking out of the game for a play. That obviously, that's enough to get you benched. But he was playing poorly before that. In fact, the last competent football he played was to start last season. You guys were talking about that in the previous segment, and then he hurt his shoulder, was out for the season. Now, what I find interesting is Shane Steichen was very definitive. Joe Flacco, when he benched Richardson, would be the starter the rest of the season. Now he's reversed course. He's now saying Anthony Richardson will be the starter the rest of the season. It's because, A, Flacco did not play well. Let's call it like it is. Joe did not play well. They were hoping he would. They were hoping to get back in the playoff race, but they're really, think about it, when you look at this situation, the Chargers are 5-5 right now. The Broncos are 5-5. They're the number 7 team. Getting a little juice here with Richardson. Now that he's learned his lesson, Anthony's been very public about it, taking that step back. Sometimes guys, that when a young quarterback takes a step back, he can learn from the sidelines, and that's what's happened here. So why are they doing this going forward? They want that energy. They want that juice. He's a dynamic player. But he had to get his head right. And listen, folks, that Jet defense, what has happened to the Jet defense? It's not dominant. It's very average. This is actually a good time to do it. Well, you could say that, Kevin, but it hasn't been good since Salah's left. Call it like it is.
That's my point. That's my point. They fired Salah, and we're like, well, Jeff Ulbricht's there, and it's been a disaster. Right. And again, like the accountability in that room is embarrassing, Cap.
Both sides of the football. The Jets, I'll admit it, I throw my hands up. I got that team wrong, okay? When we gave on Coast to Coast with Pharrell, we gave our teams and picked divisions and so forth. You always look for an upset. I was with the Jets for 2 days, and I asked point blank about Aaron Rodgers. Looks great. Better than we expected. Looks great. We're ready to rock and roll here. But and we could talk about their offense and how disappointing it's been. I cannot believe, Kevin, how disappointing the defense is. Who saw that? Certainly not I.
Yeah. Cap, I want to talk about New Orleans. Derek Carr and the Saints do have a tough game today, but Darren Rizzi does pull out the victory, assuming they go on a heater, let's just say. Any shot potentially for him to win the job, or who are you hearing?
Yeah, and to be honest with you, Joe, it's very rare. John Harbaugh did it, with the Ravens. And John Harbaugh, most people don't know this. He asked the Eagles if he can move from special teams to defensive backs because these guys, these special teams coaches rarely get a chance to be a head coach. And it would have to be, Joe, it would have to be an unbelievable run like we weren't expecting. Rizzi's he's one of the top 3 or 4 special teams coaches in the National Football League. So I would, first of all, they're going to get a new quarterback next year. Derek Carr will not be their starting quarterback next year. There's no chance that happens. He's got no guaranteed money next year in his contract. It isn't funny, folks, as we do these segments on Pro Football Today. It's about the quarterback. How many teams have struggled to find that starter? You want to know why these teams aren't in the playoffs? Look at the quarterback.
Cap, on that idea then, let me ask you, have you started to hear any conversation around this year's quarterback class in college? Because it's a really interesting one with Deion's son, of course, Shedeur Sanders having the great year at Colorado, Cam Ward and the Heisman season that he's had with Miami, Carson Beck, the up-and-down nature, Jalen Milroe back with Alabama. Have you heard anything?
Not a great class. No, it's funny because I usually start with the scouting world when they're on the road. I mean, I could go back to 2007 when Joe Flacco had 7th-round grades from the scouting services coming into his final season at Delaware. And I actually heard about him and went to go to see him at Villanova. I was like, this guy's on the 7th-round pick. He'll be either a 1st or 2nd-round pick. It's usually right before Thanksgiving where you hear some buzz. It's funny you bring this up. There's been very little buzz this year. Even Drake May. Now, Drake May was a guy we're seeing with New England. You heard a lot of buzz, but you heard kind of shaky, not accurate, pretty good athlete. But there's not a lot of buzz. We'll talk more about this in the coming weeks, but there's not a lot of buzz with his class so far.
Cap, let me squeeze in another quarterback question from the Keystone States. The Pittsburgh Steelers, obviously next year is going to be important for who their quarterback is going to be. If Russell Wilson continues to play well, are we expecting a contract extension for him soon?
Well, no, I wouldn't say soon, but we got to go past 3 starts. But, Donnie, absolutely, they would like to see him be the starter next year. They like this to work. It's working with the power running and deep passing with Arthur Smith as the offensive coordinator. They have Mike Williams now, who's on this 1-year deal. Back this week, so he'll start or see a lot of playing time. This is the healthiest they've been all season. That is why they're poised to make a run.
It's going to be, again, a very interesting final stretch here. I know there's currently some also rumors around what could be happening if Jacksonville drops that game as huge underdogs to Detroit, and potentially stuff we'll get into next week and I'm sure throughout the week as well. NFL insider Adam Caplan.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, hey, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you. Pinching your own cheek? Because I was looking down and did not know we were getting...
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Tony Bennett stepping down and resigning from Virginia right before the season started versus the Villanova team that, folks, I gotta take my glasses off. I can't figure this team out. I can't figure this team out for 2 damn years. And the problem that keeps coming up is the coaching of Kyle Neptune.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
We're back with you right here on Pro Football Today. We're now joined by the Pro Football Doc, Dr. David Chao. He and the guys over at SixScore.com have been helping us out all season long with the injury information to make these bets, and they've been helping you out as well. When you go to SixScore.com/picks, put in promo code SportsGrid and get yourself a free week over at SickPicks there. Doc, appreciate you joining us on a Sunday morning.
Oh, thanks. We did lose an injury guaranteed pick. We're 4-1 on those, but 58% on the season still against the spread.
A little bit of a bounce back spot then, perhaps, Doc, on the guaranteed picks there. We'll see what we can line up then here in Week 11. I do have to start, though, on the big one in Buffalo. The Bills, Doc, no Kincaid, no Keon Coleman, and we're still waiting for an official word on Amari Cooper. What are you seeing on the Buffalo side of the ball?
Well, we think Amari Cooper is going to play. Yes, we said PCL for Dalton Kincaid, and they're headed into the bye. But Dawson Knox is serviceable there. Spencer Brown, their right tackle, should go. Look, the bigger injury here might be Harrison Butker. Look, it's a Jets backup kicker. There's mechanics involved in field goals, outdoors weather. This is kind of a pick-em field goal game. Maybe that has as much of an effect. But I just get the feeling this game means a lot more to Buffalo. Buffalo's trying to get past the Chiefs. And if they lose this game, they'll be 3 games back in the standings and lose the tiebreaker. 4 games back, that's done. The Chiefs, I don't think they care about an undefeated season. I think they're more about the three-peat. The three-peat's never been done. The undefeated season's been done before by the Dolphins. So a lot of energy in Buffalo. Should be a great game.
Doc, quickly before I get off this game, Isaiah Pacheco's name has been tossed around throughout the week. What are you guys projecting from the Chiefs running back?
Same thing we projected at the beginning of the season when he got hurt. December. Is it early? Is it mid? Don't know, but December for Pacheco.
All right, let's move on to Seattle and San Francisco, Doc. A lot of big-name players here with some questionable statuses. Let me start here with Seattle Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf. Expectations after this layoff, full go today, or any concerns?
Full go. I think he was close before. Full go for him. The right tackle's back for Seattle. And I was actually just going over the field view here, and you can see a lot of the red on the 49ers defense. Oh, good. You guys got it there. And that's what we offer at Sports Injury Central in terms of analysis. Gosh, and heart goes out to Charvarius Ward, who's still out, right? Personal reasons. But, this is an interesting game here, right? I mean, everyone loves San Francisco, but Seattle has the injury advantage here, and they're getting 6.5.
They do. And also, if we do flip it over to the 49ers, number one, Christian McCaffrey, always a focal point, but it looks like George Kittle might be down with a hamstring injury. And also, talk to us about Trent Williams. Is he struggling with that ankle injury that he sustained in practice?
Trent Williams is struggling with that ankle. His history is he tries to play through, and he's a vet, and will try and play through. How well is the question? George Kittle is not going to go. Look, Adam Schefter is never wrong. When he hints so strongly, we're going to really try it out, but he's not unlikely to go. He's not going to go. There are no true game time decisions on Sunday morning. Game time confirmations maybe, but not game time decisions. So don't expect George Kittle. And I keep talking about CMC played 51 of 54 plays. That's awesome, and his Achilles is fine, but let's keep our fingers crossed he doesn't get a acclimation muscle injury, because this is really the start of his season. This will be his, quote, second game.
Doc, we'll turn our attention to New Orleans. Cleveland has a 6 score of 87, New Orleans 81, but Cleveland's offensive line very healthy heading into this matchup.
Yeah, that's the big change. That's what, among other things, got Deshaun Watson into trouble, right? It was the bad offensive line. They're coming off a bye. They're as healthy as they have been, Cleveland. New Orleans got the one-game new head coach bounce, but the matchup clearly favors the Browns in this one.
I do want to talk about Nick Chubb, because he's come back, but he's not obviously at the high end or where we saw him in terms of productivity. What have you seen out of Nick Chubb in terms of his mobility? Is he back to at least 85 or 90% of the player that he was last year coming off the major injury?
Shocked and surprised and grateful that Nick Chubb is back in the NFL. Not at all surprised that he's not the Nick Chubb of old. I mean, if he weren't the great Nick Chubb, he wouldn't be in the league right now. But he's the great Nick Chubb, and 80% of Nick Chubb is still pretty good, serviceable. But that's kind of where he's at right now. He's about 75, 80% of his normal Nick Chubb self. Maybe he can get better next year, but kudos to him for all his hard work and rehab in the offseason.
Doc, let me ask you about Minnesota and Tennessee. I see here looking at the scores for these teams, it's one of the bigger gaps, if not the biggest gap of the week from a team grade perspective here with Minnesota. I'm seeing right now at a 91.8 compared to Tennessee's 83.6.
No question. And there's no concern of Aaron Jones. No concern about Aaron Jones. No concern about Sam Darnold. They got Hawkinson back. Cam Robinson's fine at left tackle there for them. So it's a pretty healthy Minnesota team. And yes, this week we actually have a lot of health advantages this week at 6 score and 6 picks.
And quickly, and again, remind everybody to get over to 6score.com, get over to 6pick.com there, and use that promo code from SportsGrid to get yourself a free week. And they've been excellent with all of the information. The picks have been great as well. But, Doc, first time we're going to see Jordan Love in a little bit. Didn't look himself, I feel, in that game against Detroit. Hits the bye. What do you expect from the Packers quarterback?
Fully healthy. No issues with the groin, the earlier season knee, nothing. Fully healthy against Caleb Williams and the Bears.
All right, that's a good sign in there for certainly one of the most important players in that NFC. That is the Pro Football Doc, Dr. David Chao. Doc, we appreciate you making some time for us here on a Sunday morning.
Thank you.
It's one of those things, guys, just quickly before we hit this break, and we're going to get to tell me something, but almost kind of, I forgot the last time we saw Jordan Love, how rough it looked. And
right.
It's another reason I'm, cautious going into that game today, Joe.
It was, and the last time he played was a wet track, and Donnie and I brought it up in terms of, the mobility in terms of that game. You should get a better effort today on the road.
Yeah, certainly should. All right, we got some salvage something for you next on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Tony Bennett stepping down and resigning from Virginia right before the season started versus the Villanova team that, folks, I got to take my glasses off. I can't figure this team out. I can't figure this team out for 2 damn years. And the problem that keeps coming up is the coaching of Kyle Neptune.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
We're back to right here on SportsGrid, and I already know how my Selling Something's going to go over, but we'll get there when we get there. Lisi, would you like to start us off here? For anybody that's new, I guess we should give you a little refresher. The rules are seemingly all up in the air, to be quite frankly. I think the only thing that has seemingly been consistent has been nobody is all that confident in the wager when they go into it. I don't know. At one point, it was plus money. At one point, it was a guy you hadn't heard much about.
Yeah.
There's been madness. There's been chalk. I don't know. Lisi, you're batting lead off.
Let me just give you the backstory of my Sell Me Something quick. I walked in and gave Sammy Cooper rush, and then I realized it was a Monday night game. I had to switch it. So no.
Come on.
I swear.
No,
But now I
just
like
handed
the
him a
pick.
bagel.
I did. The bagels are hard. They're calling me the bagel boy in the back. I don't know. We'll turn our attention to South Beach. I actually think Las Vegas will be live heading into this matchup. I think that, they lost 5 straight prior to the bye week. The fact that they're fired their offensive coordinator, have a veteran quarterback. I still think they can attack that secondary over the top. I think it's a huge day for Gardner Minshew. You want to go over with Tua, that's fine. Gardner Minshew, 3+ touchdowns at 11-1, guys. I think it has great value.
Big price. You need that good start. Here. Even the mics aren't even happy with the picks right there on Gardner Minshew at 11-1 price right now. But I'm going to sell you on this because Kevin is right. Times have changed, seasons shift along. There was a time where I would sit up here and say, you know what, this pick stinks here. I think it can maybe win, but it's expected to lose. Not anymore. Kenneth Gainwell broke free. So now we started to see the light and say to myself, okay, take a team that nobody thinks is going to score a lot of points today. Who in the world would bet the Chicago Bears today to get over 17 points? This guy right here, 15 points, 9 points, 3 points, erase it. Add them all together. That's over 17 and a half. How about that? How about that?
You like that?
Add the last 3 over. We're hitting this one. Chicago Bears team total over 16.5 points, minus 125, 17. Can we get it by the half? And no sweater.
Well, I like the total. Yeah, why not?
Come on.
I think you've opened it. Somehow, I can't believe you just gave out minus 125, and I'm going to be the one who gets stick during this segment.
You are.
What do you think of a minus 125 Bears team total for a Sell Me Something, Lisi?
Yeah.
Qualifies?
Team stinks.
Honestly, I don't think it does.
No, hold on. But I'm getting beat up on Twitter. I like to share my plays out there. I'm getting the only pushback I'm getting is on the Bears. Is on the Bears.
Are you really?
Yes, I'm getting pushback from people on the Bears.
Now I love
today.
They must be.
See, there you
new
go.
here.
There you go.
Wait, intel.
I'm getting pushback.
Late intel comes in.
Now look,
he's holding on.
Look, hold on. If that pick does lose, open up an account and flame Joe Lisi's account. That's how it works. That's how it works.
That's it. Burner.
So my Sell Me Something. In order to try to justify it, I did research as to why it's a bad pick. It's Justin Jefferson for 125
guy
plus
does it every
yards
week.
at plus 360. Now, I know that we've tried to not go with the superstars here. Man, one of my favorite moments is when Donnie came in and it was like, Mahomes and Allen to each
under the radar players.
Ching. He's like, each to throw for 200 plus 124. It was like, hold on. I was like, I was trying to hit my first one. Here's the reason why I go to this Justin Jefferson number, or at least why I think it qualifies. Keon Coleman had a game for 125 against Tennessee. He's the only receiver to have more than 70 yards in a game this year against that Titans secondary. 70. Mm-hmm. Nobody else has been able to get through that number. We've got Justin Jefferson in a bounce-back spot last week. Did not cross the 50 marker here. I even took a chance on him to get to 150 plus at plus 750.
I love it because I think the Vikings are going to absolutely smash Tennessee today.
Yeah.
You got their best effort on the road against the L.A. Chargers. Will Levis, the human turnover machine, is bound to give multiple opportunities to Sam Darnold and Justin Jefferson. So I like the look. I'm on Minnesota. I laid the 5.5, and I took them in a parlay on the money line.
It isn't a bad look because you expect big plays out of Justin Jefferson. Would be surprised at 4 catches, 74 yards at the break for Justin Jefferson? No. Well on his way to getting that 125. You almost hope that, as we like to say, get that running mate. If Will Levis can show any pulse today, that helps your opinion here on Justin Jefferson over $125.
Yeah, again, it's a huge ask, but if you do look through his career, man, he just has some absolute monster games, and when he comes off of those really, small-level performances, he knows how to flip it around.
Not only that, watching his buddy Jamar Chase, the 234, I think those guys keep an eye on each other.
You said that going into a Chase game this year, and it worked out for you? Was that what it? Justin had a monster game, and then Chase.
Yep.
I'm starting to buy into that.
Those LSU guys, keep an eye out for Brian Thomas today.
He said he doesn't pick up the phone for him, though. Justin Jefferson.
Any way to get to a Brian Thomas pick. Whip around is next. It'll start with the Jaguars.
Lisi.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma will do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Tony Bennett stepping down and resigning from Virginia right before the season started versus a Villanova team that, folks, I gotta take my glasses off. I can't figure this team out. I can't figure this team out for 2 damn years. And the problem that keeps coming up is the coaching of Kyle Neptune.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
All right, how about a little whip around in your life here on a Sunday morning, half hour until kickoff? We begin our breakdowns in Detroit. A 13.5-point spread a 47.5 total. I love this game today. Rock right? Yes. Rock right over 15.5 yards is my best bet. We'll get into that more. I also think Travis Etienne can get through his rushing receiving total at 68.5. I lean towards Jacksonville because they've continuously covered numbers, though I do feel everybody's in a weird spot with seemingly a guaranteed fire happening for Doug Peterson postgame.
Yeah, I like Detroit in this matchup. More complete offense and defensive lines, the way they were able to pick up that victory on Sunday night, battled back there. They're a team that I want no part of in terms of the other side. I do like the over 46.5 in terms of the total. I think Detroit will have their way. I think you'll get some points in terms of productivity out of Jacksonville, maybe 14, 17. It's all Detroit and the over for me, but I do like Brian Thomas, 60-plus receiving today.
Detroit does win the game. I don't know if I'm willing to lay 13.5, but that under now spiked up to 47.5. Joe, I actually like the under in this one. If I'm looking to say there's going to be points in this game, for me, it only comes from a Lions perspective. Like if instead of taking the total, it would be a Lions team total for me. I just don't see Mac Jones doing all that much on offense. And if their game plan is, let's get into a shootout with Detroit, that's not going to work to their favor. I go under 47.5 in this game.
Jahmyr Gibbs should hit the end zone. Little bounce back. Didn't get in last week there. How about the Bears and the Packers? Total for this game, 40.5. It's got to be a misprint. I'm not. I keep staring at this number.
Who's it, Mitch
Stop staring. Stop staring. Either get on the train or stay at the station. Don't stare. The longer you stare, the longer I have a problem with it. I believe Green Bay is the right side. Again, they're the more complete team coming out of the bye week. Jordan Love, an extra week to get healthy. I think they'll have their way throwing over the top. We saw the Patriots move the football. This team has no answers defensively, I believe, for lesser inefficient offenses than Green Bay. I think Green Bay could put up a 30 spot on them. I love the over, 39.5, 40.5. I altered it as high as 47.5 in terms of this matchup. I think we get points. I think Green Bay wins. Divisional matchup could be the game that Matt Eberflus gets fired too.
I expect a decent performance out of the Packers offense regardless here, because the Chicago Bears do have a quality defense, but there's a lot of weapons on the Packers. Here's what the expectations for the Chicago Bears are. Not to be lame. And they say, well, sometimes you can say bad quarterback play. Wide receivers aren't running great routes. They're dropping the football. Running backs are putting the football on the ground. I get that. But from a coaching perspective, Joe, assistant coaches that step up into that spot to be an offensive coordinator, it's 4th and 2 at the 50. We're punting. No, you're not punting that football. It's 3rd and 1. Instead of handing the football off to DeAndre Swift to get the yard, it's a play-action pass, and it's a deep shot down the field. I look for more interesting ways of this offense to get into, which has been absolutely dead on arrival the past 3 weeks. And when I say interesting, 17 points or more. Put it this way. Bears score 17 points, game flies over the total.
I agree.
I'm excited to watch it play out. I think both Josh Jacobs and DeAndre Swift are in line to have some good games. It is plus 420 for that coveted 1-1 there. Each team to throw a touchdown and run a touchdown in. How about the Rams and the Patriots? A 4.5-point spread in favor of the road LA team here with 42.5 as our listed total. I don't love this game. I would lean towards New England, though, here, as I think Drake May has been a monster upgrade for them against Jacoby Brissett, and he keeps the back door open in games. I'm not sure I love the Rams getting up to beat New England after that letdown on a Monday night.
I disagree. I think the Rams are the right side. We've seen this line fluctuate a little bit, 4.5 down to 3.5, now back up right now. Last time I checked, at 4.5. I think it's all Kyren Williams and the rushing attack. I understand the offensive line didn't protect Matt Stafford on Monday night or Thursday night. I think you'll get a much better effort today out of Kyren, altered him up to 110+. I think they run the football, open up play action, and I think the defense can force turnovers. The total, to me, is where I'm looking, not just in terms of pre-kick. Maybe we get in the 30s. From an in-game perspective, I'll jump in there.
Yeah, I just can't. Sometimes you can't go off the pass game, right? And it's like I expected the Rams to beat the Dolphins, weren't able to get the job done. But it just looked like now you're going over to the East Coast here against not a great environment. New England's not playing for much, but they can still hang around that number. You look at the past 3 games here. They've been very competitive, talking about the Patriots, and every single snap you get for your young rookie quarterback, he's supposed to improve and see different things. This isn't one of those defenses that's like, hey, you know what? Brian Flores on the opposite side. He's going to be absolutely stoning this guy left and right. The Rams defense hasn't been very good. Why can't New England move the football enough to stay in this one? Give me the 4.5.
All right, taking the points there with the New England Patriots. What about laying the points possibly with the Cleveland Browns as Jameis Winston goes back to New Orleans here as a 1.5-point favorite? Total in this one is 44.5. I'm puzzled by this number. I mean, the Browns are laying only 2 less points in Atlanta. I know the Falcons aren't great. I think they're better than the Cleveland Browns. I mean, if Deshaun Watson was the quarterback, what is this number? Like 6? I mean, is this how much better we grade this team when it's Jameis and not Watson? The Saints just got themselves a win. They are man, with Derek Carr. This team got hit with the injury bug. There is talent on that roster. There is. I know the season's done, but I can only look New Orleans in this game.
Again, I'm not betting a side here. I do lean to Cleveland because of the physicality of the offensive line. The weakness of New Orleans is in run support. That could be a big day for Ford and Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb up to 70, 80 plus because I think they can run the football. They do have the coaching advantage, a complete staff versus an interim staff. I think that matters. I lean to Cleveland. Don't love it, but I like the under in the matchup.
I do like the under. 44.5, I think that makes some sense. The reason being is if you're looking at Cleveland, their way to success could be in the running game, which means you're going to burn clock. You're going to get 3 plays, first down, 11, 12 yards, and away you go. I just don't see the explosive plays. You can't tell me we're going to have a repeat performance of Valdez-Scantling last week. That guy's going to go MIA once again. This game stays under 44.5. I'm with Joe.
All right, looking forward under there. How about the Vikings and the Titans? A fascinating spot where Minnesota last week was put on upset alert. Can it happen again? Their 3rd straight game against the AFC South. I look at this one here, and I think Justin Jefferson bucks the trend of the Tennessee Titans completely shutting down every wide receiver they've seen because they haven't seen a wide receiver like Justin Jefferson coming off of a letdown game, sub 50 yards. First time this year. I think he pops off. I played him for 125 plus, even took a chance on the 150 plus marker.
Yeah, I just realized I'm picking all favorites, but this is who I like. I like Minnesota a lot in this matchup. I do lean to the under 39.5 because I'm not sure what Will Levis and that offense are going to give you. I do believe in Brian Flores, do believe in Minnesota's defense traveling on the road. I know they were a little sleepy against Jacksonville. I think they wake up in a big way. All Minnesota, double-digit win.
I just think Minnesota can win this football game and will, but I'm just not happy with the way Sam Darnold has been playing. I'm going to take the 6 points with the home dog today. Keep it close here. Minnesota wins a close one.
All right, grabbing some points there. How about the Colts and the Jets? Man, I certainly lean towards Indianapolis. This number's continuing to work towards the Jets. 3.5s mostly gone. We're getting 4.5s in the market now on New York. I do love the Anthony Richardson longest rush prop at 13.5. Hits it in 5 of 6 this year, 2 out of 4 last year. Remind yourselves, he's left multiple games throughout his young career early. So this is one of those security blankets to a potential injury if it happens for what has unfortunately been an injury-prone player here. I like Anthony Richardson on the ground.
I like the look. I think I told you 50, 60 yards, but here's the dog. I like the Colts plus the 3.5, like them plus the 176 on the money line. Believe more in Steichen and that offense than I do Aaron Rodgers. That defense was pathetic. Kyler did extend plays with his legs. Maybe Richardson has a big day on the ground, but through the air, I think the Colts strike the upset. Don't be shocked if they're in this game.
No, it's getting 4.5 now, which means some sharp money's coming in on the Jets based on what you saw last week, and certainly nobody's really going to take the Jets. Well, they are at home. Last time they were at home, they did play well, but I'm not buying into it. I saw enough. Aaron Rodgers cannot move. Are they going to score points so they get shut out? Absolutely not getting shut out. They will score probably north of 2 touchdowns. That's the expectations and more. But I just look at the Colts at this point with Richardson at quarterback coming back. I expect a big day from him on the ground and Jonathan Taylor. The one thing we know about the Jets is they're extremely talented, but they got no heart on defense whatsoever. This team is coming to ground and pound today. I'll take Indy.
I'll just throw this out here because it just came across my desk. But Jay Glazer, NFL Insider, reported today.
Yeah.
And look, I think Glazer's got a pretty good track record.
What's he got?
The Colts had no desire to go back to Richardson. They desperately wanted Joe Flacco to be their quarterback, but he was so bad they had no choice. What a mess they've created in Indianapolis. We'll see if Richardson can clean it up on his own. We'll be right back.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the The Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Tony Bennett stepping down and resigning from Virginia right before the season started versus the Villanova team that, folks, I got to take my glasses off. I can't figure this team out. I can't figure this team out for 2 damn years. And the problem that keeps coming up is the coaching of Kyle Neptune.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
The whip around continues with, I think, one of the more polarizing games on the board where people will not stop clicking on Miami as the Dolphins are up now to an 8.5-point favorite against the Las Vegas
Somebody likes
Raiders.
it even more.
Total here is 43.5. I myself, I think, also would take Vegas if you made me. I'm starting to like the over more and more in this game, man. If Miami is going to justify this number, they need to be in the 30s to me, Joe.
I agree. I was just looking at it, 43.5, minus 110 either way. I sort of like the over. I think Gardner Minshew is going to have a good performance. You could get huge numbers in terms of the passing attack. 275, I think, is almost 5-1. Or 8 like I got to double check. Maybe that might have been 250 at plus 460. But huge numbers. His number's 182.5. I'm going to take a shot. I like the Raiders here coming out of the bye week. I think they can score some points. I'm not sold on Miami's defense duplicating what we saw in terms of the L.A. offense on Thursday night. And, again, I think the Raiders are going to be in this ballgame. Whether they pull it out on the road is a different story.
Yeah.
But 8.5 now is way too many points.
As it almost feel to me, it was like the Philadelphia Eagles take on the Dallas Cowboys, where so many people were sort of banged up and injured. I wasn't sure of how to take that game. And I said if they were healthy the whole game, they roll. The reason I bring that up is if Tyreek Hill is healthy, he should run wild on the secondary, which means we should get points on both sides. And the Joe's point on Gardner Minshew, Ridder's behind him. I don't think he's getting in the game, but I don't think this is hey, guys, let's try to stick it close. He's going to be throwing it all over the lot. I just don't have enough out of Tyreek Hill to take this game either way. But I do think it's kind of nuts that now we're sitting at 8.5 as all of a sudden the Dolphins are a great football team because they beat the Rams.
The thing is, though, I would just say this.
Yeah.
That number last week against the Rams, Donnie, at only 2.5 points, showed the books like there's something here with this Miami team. Today, they could prove it. Pittsburgh, Baltimore, 3.5 starting to pop back up here all of a sudden. Total for this game, it's big time. It's not what you would expect when these teams play. It's 48.5. I love Lamar Jackson over 237.5 passing yards, 300 yards per game in his last 6 with at least 280 in all 6 of those games. I like Lamar to toss it.
I do. I think they cover the 3.5-point number. We talk about they've won 7 of the last 8. They put up 28 points or more in every game. I get that. The only game that they didn't was the Cleveland loss at 24. I think they're the more complete offense. And again, I'm not sold on Russell Wilson going toe-to-toe should this game become a shootout. I do think the game, though, does trend under the 48.5. I think it's a lower scoring game with than what people think. Give me Baltimore. I think they win it by 7 or more.
Let Russ cook here. And by the way, you see that total, Joe, 48.5? Justin Fields starts, that's 38.5. So there you go. You got a real quarterback in command here for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The ball's going to move both sides here. I'm with you. That is a lot for a divisional opponent where so much is on the line. But I'm looking at the ways where that clock is not just going to churn. Both of these teams have really good passing games, which does include Lamar Jackson, which Kevin's told you multiple times. Oh, Lamar, 188. No. Lamar is throwing the hell out of the football here, and you can't run on that Baltimore team, but you can throw on them. This is going to be an exciting game.
It is. I am really excited to watch it play out. And look, this is the perception changer. Make no bones about it. A win here for Pittsburgh. They will be division favorites, a 2-game lead.
Oh, make it happen.
And all of a sudden, things get really interesting within that AFC's playoff picture. We continue to move through the slate here, and we get to San Francisco, where the banged-up Niners are down to just 5.5-point favorites against the Seahawks. Total here, 49.5. So total coming up. Seattle getting shorter. It feels like the Niners are on upset watch, Joe.
It could be a little of that, I think, was that performance. You know, after Christian McCaffrey came back, they get pushed to the limit by an undermanned Tampa Bay team. They win but don't cover the 5.5 points. Now they're at home to a team that they've absolutely dominated. Dominated them in Seattle, double-digit win. I think they're going to win this game, but my play is the under. I think 49.5, again, Seattle can't get into a shootout with them defensively. I think San Fran runs it more with Christian McCaffrey. I hesitantly take San Fran, but my best pick is the under here.
Yeah, I'm taking the points in this game. If I had to do one of my alt parlays here, probably 50 yards for each running back and a touchdown for each one of the starting running backs. Obviously, that's Christian McCaffrey and Walker on the other side. I think they can both eat on the ground today. I'm interested to see how Brock Purdy handles no George Kittle and who steps up over the middle, Joe, in his absence.
That's a really good point there. Does Deebo Samuel have a breakout game, or is McCaffrey just 2 touchdowns? We should have seen it coming. It was always written in the stars. How about the Falcons and the Broncos here? I think there's some sneaky juice on Audric Estime. The issue for me with that Denver backfield is it's developing. Atlanta's been bad against RBs, especially in the receiving game. But I don't know if Audric Estime's opened himself up to that type of workload there. Total for this one's 44.5. I do lean Falcons, though. Denver does not have a win of this caliber on the resume.
I understand that, but they're playing at home. They have I think, the better defense in this matchup. Contain Pat Mahomes. They can certainly contain Kirk Cousins, that has been inconsistent multiple times. Saw it last week against New Orleans. Saw it a couple weeks ago against Seattle. I think they're up against it. I do like Denver here. But I like the over. I think we could get through this total, 44.5. I think both quarterbacks potentially throw it, and I think we get through the total. That's starting to look really nice at 4.
Yeah, stay away from game from me, but I do agree. If I'm just going to take anybody, it would be the home team, Denver Broncos. Liked what I saw last week, but also worried a little bit about a rookie quarterback, how he bounces back from a game that he figured he beat Patrick Mahomes. I think they'll be fine. It's just, for me, I don't trust the Atlanta Falcons. Simple as that.
I understand that. I just don't also trust Denver.
No,
you're
right.
What I
It's
mean?
a tough one. That's why it's
Atlanta
1.5.
Off of a loss there. I think they're in a solid spot. Kansas City and Buffalo. Cannot wait to watch it play out. People, will they be firing parlays away the way we're used to when these teams usually meet up? I think they should. I love the over here at 46. I really do. The Bills have scored at least 30 in every home game, 30-plus at 7-10. The Mahomes-led Chiefs have scored 26 or more in 6 out of 9. They did that the last time they were coming off the game. They were sub-20, which has rarely happened this year. I really like what we've got from these two offenses today, Joe.
I think we're going to get through the total as well, but I do lean to Buffalo playing at home. They've dominated them in terms of the regular season. It's all Josh Allen, not through the air, on the ground. When Buffalo wins, especially in the regular season, it's Josh Allen blowing through his numbers. 36.5, I think he'd get to 50, 60 plus, and plus 135 to hit pay dirt. That's the way I'm looking.
You're supposed to go with your initial instinct, which for me has always been the Buffalo Bills. But the way I play this game out in my mind, look, it's going to be a great crowd. Josh Allen's a fantastic quarterback, but they're not just all there on offense just yet. Who would have thought that you say, okay, going into Buffalo, who has the better defense? Oh, it's the Buffalo Bills. No, it's not. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. And the better offense right now, as constructed with injuries, it's still the Kansas City Chiefs for me. I think they pull it out. Look, I'm not betting aside here. You're going to find out in Best Bets what I really like in this game, but I got to stick, I guess, with Kansas City if we're going with it.
All right, we're going to continue to make it happen. Sunday Night Football, Best Bets, touchdown scores. It's all coming up.
The sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
My grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you. Pinching your own cheek? As I was
that's what
looking
your
down
grandma
and did
does,
not
right?
know we were getting...
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Tony Bennett stepping down and resigning from Virginia right before the season started versus the Villanova team that, folks, I got to take my glasses off. I can't figure this team out. I can't figure this team out for 2 damn years. And the problem that keeps coming up is the coaching of Kyle Neptune.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
All right, you two must be on the same page. Get a little closer.
Let me take center stage. I'm
separation
feeling.
there.
Look at this. Look at this. Look
No
at that pose.
separation.
Look
Here we
at
go.
this pose. Oh,
Pose.
my goodness, yeah.
All right.
How are we feeling? You
I
feeling
feel
good?
great. I love
Feeling
my
great.
total on the move.
All right, well, let's
Whoa,
get to Sunday
good
Night
direction or
Football
bad?
first.
Good.
Chargers, Bengals, a big one in the AFC here. I look at this game. I'm taking a chance on the under at 48. LA's first game all season that had at least 40 points scored came last week. We've seen the Cincinnati defense have a few step-up spots. It could be on board here today. It's all relative. It's a big total. I think we stay under in prime time.
Yeah, I don't have a feeling on the total, but I do like Cincinnati here catching 1.5 on the road. Had that performance a couple weeks ago against Baltimore. 3-2 overall on the road. Give me Cincinnati. Don't have a feel on the total.
For me in this game, I do think the Chargers win. The 1.5, not enough to sway me the opposite side. So I'm going to go Chargers, even though I do have a bet on the Bengals making the playoffs, which I explained multiple times. I just love the Chargers, man. Is it something just so simple? You love the Chargers. You love a team.
They win.
Going
They'll
with
be
them.
7-3.
Yeah.
Doing
Certainly
a great
will
job.
be. We'll see. I do think Jamar Chase hits the end zone in this game, though, as he continues to build on his league-leading 10 touchdown receptions this season. All right, let's put some best bets on the board here. Lisi, I know you are fired up for your pick.
I am. It's a contrarian pick, as always. It's a 1 o'clock total. It's up now from 40.5 to 41.5 in the market. Again, we understand why it's so low because of Chicago firing the offensive coordinator. 2 straight games, only 4 field goals. They get blown out by New England 19-3. What could they do? The sky's the limit. You can only go up. Give me up in a way because I do believe Jordan Love and Green Bay not only is the right side, they're rested. They're coming out of a bye. They're going to stress that Chicago defense over the top, and I think they put up points. I think Green Bay does, in fact, get into the 30s today.
How about this? Nice little pick 6 by Jordan Love, Joe, to help out on that total here by the Chicago Bears. Love to see that. I'd like to see that total. But for me, look at this. Kansas City Chiefs, look, 2 games this year they did not hit a total of 20.5 points. 2 games. And why was that? I'm not even going to blame the Chiefs at this point. Didn't have a running mate today. They get a running mate in the Buffalo Bills. Perfect weather in Western New York. You got to be kidding me. The Chiefs, 21+. Sign it up, baby. Minus 135. Little juicy, but that juice doesn't matter when you win.
I've seen this bet a million times. Easily my favorite part is when you tweet the ticket and people reply, where are you getting 20.5 from? As if you're not, you're replying to a tweet that has
correct.
wear the 20.
Man, that's not even available out there. Maybe not at this point.
Or
what happens is like Buffalo gets to 21 first. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, man. It's like we really got to. I could have had a winner on the opposite side, but let's let it ride.
Cannot wait to watch that game play out. I do like the over at 46. My bet, listen, it's off the beaten path. I remember a few weeks ago, DR, I said, listen, man, if you got a popular player, give it to him.
Wow.
And I thought about
this
doing
is the best
that.
bet?
Donnie.
I thought you got it.
Donnie,
wow.
it might be my best bet of this season.
Wow. Oh, my
Brock
goodness.
Wright, over 15 and a half yards. Sam Laporta's backup is who? Sam Laporta's out. Sam Laporta averages 40 yards per game.
Looks like Dan Campbell right
Why
there.
would Brock Wright's number be 15 and a half? I'm not saying it should be 40 and a half, although I did take him for 40
Now,
plus.
give me how he looks up there. Give me how he looks.
I mean that
Is
looks
a wide
pretty good
out?
there, DRS. Here's the deal. The Jaguars, awful against tight ends. Hawkinson, 70 plus. Hunter Henry, 80 plus. Calcaterra fill-in duty had 5 grabs for 30 yards here. I mean, listen, I'm fighting through the elements with one of you two. That's fine. Haters are out, and I don't mind it. Brock Wright gets through these 15 and a half yards. Laporta's missed this once this season. I adore it. It's a Brock Wright game if I've ever seen one.
I hope he blows through his number. It's Detroit for me.
Doesn't sound like you hit your hopeful for it, to be honest.
Look, I'll say this. It wouldn't be a best bet segment or if we didn't get it. It's a Detroit Lion pick somewhere on the
That means
board.
who do you like on the Lions then? Because I wasn't getting the enthusiastic Brock Wright there.
No, I mean, again, I don't have. I didn't really look at the game all that much in terms of the props.
Yes, you did.
I like the other side. I like Brian Thomas. I like the Jacksonville side. I'm not taking Gibbs. I'm not taking any of the wide. I'm not
give you off the beaten path. And you think he goes under. All right,
like you said, good Lisi, like I'm alting that 25 plus, 35 plus,
40 plus, Joe.
I said I hope it blows through the number.
How about an anytime touchdown score, Lisi?
It's Josh Allen for me, plus 135.
Whoa.
I told you, I think he has a huge performance. He'll get it done. And again, games
on the beaten path.
And cheat from me.
There you go.
Not 3-1.
Jonathan Taylor for me. He hits this one from 25 plus. How about that? We'll add right on to it.
A little home run shot.
Yep.
How about Kenny Walker? Let's get even money there for the Seattle Seahawks. I think this team can hang with the Niners today. A lot of their touchdowns allowed this year have been to the running back position, and that will do it. What a pro football today it has been. Best of luck on those bets. Brock Wright Rumble. We'll see you on a Monday night.
Oh, could be the greatest pick of the world.
Football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, hey, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you. Pinching your own cheek? Because I was looking down and did not know we were getting...
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on Sports.